Today, we put the spotlight on the Pittsburgh Steelers, a franchise built on toughness, tradition, and the roar of the terrible towels waving at Heinz Field. From the Steel Curtain dynasty of the 1970s to the grit of Ben Rothlessberger's teams in the 2000s, the Steelers have always embodied hard-nosed football. But here's the question. Can Pittsburgh rise again as contenders, or has their golden age passed? Today, we shine the spotlight on the Steelers, their history, their highs, their heartbreaks, and what lies ahead in 2025. The Pittsburgh Steelers were founded in 1933 by Art Rooney with an NFL franchise fee of just $2,500. Originally named the Pittsburgh Pirates to mirror the city's baseball team, the franchise changed its name to the Steelers in 1940 to reflect the steel industry that defined Pittsburgh's identity. For decades, though, the Steelers were far from a powerhouse. They struggled through their first 40 years with only 8 winning seasons and no playoff victories. They became known as lovable losers, a team that captured the city's blue-collar grit, but rarely its glory. Everything changed in the 1970s when a perfect storm of ownership stability, draft brilliance, and coaching excellence transformed the Steelers into one of the NFL's greatest dynasties. The hiring of Chuck Noll in 1969 and a string of legendary drafts that brought in names like Mean, Joe Green, Terry Bradshaw, Franco Harris, Lynn Swann, Jack Lambert, Jack Ham, and Mel Blount built the foundation of the Steel Curtain defense and an offense that could strike with balance and flair. The result was unprecedented dominance. The Steelers won 4 Super Bowls in 6 years, 1974, 1975, 1978, 1979, becoming the first franchise to win 4 Lombardi trophies and cementing their place as the NFL's team of the decade. The dynasty years turned Pittsburgh into Steelers country, a fan base that expanded far beyond western Pennsylvania. With the decline of the steel industry in the 1970s and 1980s, many Pittsburgh natives moved to other parts of the country, taking their love of the Steelers with them. This migration gave rise to one of the league's most widespread and passionate fan bases. The terrible towels wave not just at home games, but in stadiums across the country, creating de facto home crowds no matter where the Steelers play. The franchise's success has continued with remarkable consistency into the modern era. The Steelers have now captured 6 Super Bowl championships, tied for the most in NFL history, 8 AFC championships, and 24 division titles. They rank among the league's all-time leaders in victories, with a tradition of winning football that has spanned generations. Their rivalries have also shaped the identity of the team. The Cleveland Browns rivalry dates back to the 1950s, built on geographic proximity and cultural similarities, while the more modern feud with the Baltimore Ravens is considered one of the fiercest, most physical rivalries in sports. Games against the Cincinnati Bengals and New England Patriots have also become heated showdowns in recent decades, especially as playoff implications have raised the stakes. The Rooney family has remained at the helm since the beginning, providing the kind of steady ownership few franchises can match. The Rooney Rule, named after former team president Dan Rooney, became an NFL-wide policy requiring teams to interview minority candidates for head coaching and senior football operations jobs, a reflection of the family's influence on shaping not just the Steelers, but the league as a whole. From their humble beginnings as perennial losers to becoming the gold standard of stability and success, the Pittsburgh Steelers are more than just a football team. They are a cultural institution tied to the resilience of a city and the pride of a fan base that waves the terrible towel from coast to coast. Fun fact number 1. Did you know that the Pittsburgh Steelers once merged with another team twice? During World War II, player shortages forced the Steelers to temporarily combine rosters with other franchises. In 1943, they merged with the Philadelphia Eagles to form the Steagles, and in 1944, they paired with the Chicago Cardinals, creating the Card Pit team. Both were short-lived experiments, but they remain quirky chapters in NFL history. Few teams in the NFL have a look as iconic and as unchanged as the Pittsburgh Steelers. Their uniforms are instantly recognizable, black and gold, the official colors of Pittsburgh, shared with the city's other major teams, the Pirates, MLB, and Penguins, NHL. This color unity across all sports has helped cement Pittsburgh's identity as a true city of champions. The Steelers' most distinctive feature is their helmet design, which is unique in the NFL. Introduced in 1962, the helmet bears the steel mark logo on only one side, the right, leaving the left side completely blank. Originally a temporary experiment, the design stuck, becoming one of the most famous quirks in professional sports. The steel mark itself, created by U.S. Steel and later adapted for football, features three hypocycloids, diamond-shaped stars in yellow, red, and blue, symbolizing the materials used in steel production. Over time, those colors have been reinterpreted by fans as representing the qualities of the team: yellow for energy, red for passion, and blue for strength. The uniforms themselves have changed very little since the 1960s. The classic home look is black jerseys with gold pants, while the away version is white jerseys with gold pants. Occasionally, they've worn all-black alternates, and their popular throwback bumblebee uniforms, horizontal black and gold stripes with block numbers, pay tribute to the team's 1934 squad. Though polarizing among fans, the throwbacks represent the Steelers' willingness to embrace their long history. Just as recognizable as the uniforms are the stadiums that have housed Steelers football. Their original home was Forbes Field, where they played briefly in the 1930s before moving to Pitt Stadium, the University of Pittsburgh's home field, from 1933 to 1969. Those early decades were lean years, but Pitt Stadium was where the Steelers began to carve their identity as a scrappy underdog franchise. In 1970, the team moved into the newly built Three Rivers Stadium, a multi-purpose facility shared with the Pirates. It was here that the dynasty was born. The Steel Curtain defense, Terry Bradshaw, Franco Harris, and the Immaculate Reception all played out on that turf. For 31 seasons, Three Rivers was the site of 4 Super Bowl winning teams and countless playoff clashes, becoming synonymous with Steelers' greatness. In 2001, the Steelers moved to Heinz Field, now renamed Acrisure Stadium, located on the north shore of Pittsburgh. With its open design exposing fans to the harsh winter elements and the view of the Allegheny River and downtown skyline, it has quickly become one of the most intimidating environments in football. The waving of the terrible towels combined with the freezing winds make Acrisure Stadium a nightmare for visiting teams, especially late in the season. Between their timeless uniforms, their one-of-a-kind helmet design, and their legendary stadiums, the Steelers' look and home field identity are inseparable from the toughness and tradition of Pittsburgh football. Fun fact number 2, did you know that the Steelers logo wasn't originally theirs? The Steelers' famous steel mark logo, with the 3 hypocycloids, diamond-shaped stars, was created by U.S. Steel as a promotional symbol for the steel industry. The Steelers adopted it in 1962 and remain the only NFL team to wear a logo on just one side of their helmet. The Pittsburgh Steelers' history is filled with iconic moments, but no era shines brighter than the 1970s dynasty and the championship runs of the 2000s. These were the times when the Steelers weren't just winning games, they were defining the NFL. The turning point came on December 23, 1972, with a single play that changed everything: the Immaculate Reception. In a playoff game against the Oakland Raiders with just seconds remaining, Terry Bradshaw's desperate pass bounced off a defender and into the arms of rookie running back Franco Harris, who snatched the ball inches above the turf and sprinted to the end zone. That miraculous touchdown gave the Steelers their first-ever postseason victory and symbolized the birth of a dynasty. Over the next decade, head coach Chuck Noll built a team that dominated the league like no other. The defense became known as the Steel Curtain, a suffocating wall of Hall of Famers: Mean Joe Green, the emotional leader; Jack Lambert, the toothless enforcer at linebacker; Jack Ham, the technician with instincts sharper than anyone else; and Mel Blount, the cornerback so physical that the NFL literally changed its pass coverage rules because of him. On offense, Terry Bradshaw evolved from raw talent to Super Bowl MVP quarterback, launching deep bombs to Lynn Swann and John Stallworth, 2 of the greatest receivers of their era. In the backfield, Franco Harris carried the load with power and grace, eventually rushing for over 12,000 career yards. The results were historic. The Steelers won 4 Super Bowls in 6 seasons, 1974, 1975, 1978, 1979, becoming the first franchise to ever reach that mark. The dynasty cemented Pittsburgh as the NFL's team of the decade, and their style of play, tough, physical, relentless, became the standard for how football was supposed to be played. But the story doesn't end in the 70s. After 2 decades of near misses, the Steelers found their next golden era in the 2000s under coaches Bill Cowher and Mike Tomlin. Led by rookie quarterback Ben Rothlessberger, the Steelers captured Super Bowl 40 in 2005, grinding out a win over the Seattle Seahawks. It was Cowher's long-awaited championship and a return to glory for the franchise. Then came Super Bowl 43 in 2008, one of the greatest games ever played, with Mike Tomlin now at the helm. The Steelers faced the Arizona Cardinals in a dramatic back-and-forth battle. The game featured two unforgettable plays: linebacker James Harrison's 100-yard interception return, the longest in Super Bowl history, just before halftime, and wide receiver Santonio Holmes' toe-tap catch in the back of the end zone with 35 seconds left, securing a 27-23 victory. Holmes was named Super Bowl MVP, and the Steelers became the first franchise to win 6 Lombardi trophies. For Steelers fans, these high points are more than just wins. They're the heartbeat of the franchise: the immaculate reception, the steel curtain, the Cowher to Tomlin transition, and the Super Bowl heroics of Rothlessberger, Polamalu, Harrison, and Holmes all tell the story of a team that knows how to rise in the biggest moments. From the dynasty of the 70s to the championships of the 2000s, the Pittsburgh Steelers' legendary high points aren't just part of NFL history, they are NFL history. Fun fact number 3, did you know that the Pittsburgh Steelers scouting in the 1970s is considered the best in NFL history? The Steelers' 1974 draft class is legendary. They selected Lynn Swann, Jack Lambert, John Stallworth, and Mike Webster, 4 future Hall of Famers in a single draft. No other team in NFL history has ever matched that feat. Few franchises in NFL history can match the Pittsburgh Steelers when it comes to producing legends. Their roster of icons spans generations, with players who not only defined the franchise but also redefined the sport. The cornerstone of it all was Mean Joe Green, the first true star of the modern Steelers. Drafted in 1969, Green embodied the toughness of the steel curtain. His intensity, leadership, and relentless play set the tone for the dynasty, and he remains the face of Steelers football. Alongside him was Jack Lambert, the toothless, fiery linebacker who struck fear into offenses, and Jack Ham, the cerebral, versatile linebacker who combined grace with grit. Together with cornerback Mel Blount, whose physical style forced the NFL to change its rules on pass coverage, they built one of the most dominant defenses the game has ever seen. On offense, the dynasty years were anchored by quarterback Terry Bradshaw, whose rocket arm delivered 4 Super Bowl titles and earned him 2 Super Bowl MVPs. His favorite targets, Lynn Swann and John Stallworth, became a legendary wide receiver duo. Swann dazzled with acrobatic catches, especially his balletic performance in Super Bowl X, while Stallworth's speed and consistency made him one of the most reliable receivers of his era. Running back Franco Harris was the other pillar, not only the hero of the immaculate reception, but also a Hall of Fame workhorse who rushed for over 12,000 yards. The greatness didn't stop with the dynasty. In the modern era, Ben Rothlessberger became the franchise quarterback for nearly 2 decades, delivering 2 Super Bowls and compiling more than 64,000 career passing yards. Behind him, Heinz Ward, tough, physical, and clutch, became the Steelers' all-time leading receiver and a Super Bowl MVP. The ground game found its identity in Jerome "the Bus" Bettis, a bruising back whose career culminated in a Super Bowl win in his hometown of Detroit. Defensively, the modern Steelers produced some of the most unforgettable players of the 2000s. Troy Polamalu, with his flowing hair and uncanny instincts, became one of the greatest safeties in NFL history, capable of changing a game on any snap. James Harrison, the undrafted linebacker turned Defensive Player of the Year, authored one of the most iconic plays in Super Bowl history with his 100-yard interception return in Super Bowl 43. And Rod Woodson, before them, gave Pittsburgh one of the most versatile and dominant cornerbacks of all time. Beyond the field, the franchise itself has icons. The Rooney family, particularly founder Art Rooney Sr. and his son Dan Rooney, built the Steelers into a model organization. Their leadership, loyalty to coaches, and steady hand shaped Pittsburgh into the most stable franchise in football. Dan Rooney's impact extended across the league with the creation of the Rooney Rule, pushing the NFL toward greater diversity in coaching and leadership hires. From Green to Polamalu, Bradshaw to Big Ben, Harris to Bettis, and the Rooneys themselves, the Steelers' icons represent more than individual greatness. They represent the identity of a franchise, toughness, loyalty, and the belief that no moment is too big when you wear black and gold. Fun fact number 4. Did you know that the Steelers were the last of the original NFL teams to win a playoff game? Despite being founded in 1933, the Steelers didn't win their first playoff game until the 1972 Immaculate Reception. That means they went nearly 40 years without a single postseason victory, longer than any other early NFL franchise. If there's one thing that defines the Steelers, it's coaching stability. Since 1969, the team has had just 3 head coaches: Chuck Noll, 1969 to 1991, Bill Cowher, 1992 to 2006, and Mike Tomlin, 2007 to present. All 3 have won Super Bowls, a streak of continuity unmatched in NFL history. Noll built the dynasty of the 1970s, Cowher restored the team in the 1990s and delivered a Lombardi in 2005, and Tomlin has kept the Steelers consistently competitive, winning Super Bowl 43 in 2008. Tomlin has also never had a losing season, a remarkable achievement in today's NFL. The Steelers entered the 2025 NFL Draft focused on fortifying the trenches, adding balance to the offense, and building depth across the roster. In the first round, they selected Derek Harmon, the explosive defensive tackle from Oregon, who led all FBS defensive tackles in quarterback pressures last season. Harmon is expected to rotate early with Cam Hayward and could develop into a cornerstone on the defensive line. In the third round, Pittsburgh addressed the offense by drafting Caleb Johnson, a powerful running back from Iowa praised for his vision and pass protection. With Najee Harris gone, Johnson has a clear path to becoming part of the backfield rotation right away. The Steelers continued to focus on defense in the middle rounds, taking Jack Sawyer, a disruptive edge rusher from Ohio State, and Yahya Black, a massive interior lineman from Iowa, who should bolster their run defense. Perhaps the most intriguing pick came in the 6th round with Will Howard, the former Kansas State and Ohio State quarterback who has prototype size and experience. Though not expected to start immediately, he gives the Steelers a developmental option at the most important position. The draft closed with 2 7th-rounders, Carson Bruner, a linebacker from Washington who projects as a special teams contributor, and Dante Kent, a quick corner from Central Michigan who adds depth to the secondary. Analysts praised the class as balanced and pragmatic. Harmon has the talent to make an immediate impact, Johnson could provide much-needed stability in the run game, and Howard offers long-term upside. While some questions remain about wide receiver depth after George Pickens' departure, the Steelers succeeded in reinforcing their identity, a defense built on relentless pressure paired with a tough, physical ground game. The Steelers head into 2025 with one of the most fascinating outlooks in the entire league, thanks to the stunning addition of Aaron Rodgers. After his brief and injury-marred stint with the Jets, Rodgers now brings his Hall of Fame resume and championship pedigree to Pittsburgh. At 41, there are questions about how much he has left, but his leadership, accuracy, and ability to elevate an offense immediately give the Steelers a dimension they've lacked since Ben Rothlessberger's retirement. With Rodgers under center, Pittsburgh's ceiling skyrockets from playoff hopeful to potential contender. Supporting him is a roster that looks tougher than ever. The first-round selection of Derek Harmon strengthens an already ferocious defensive front anchored by T.J. Watt and Cam Hayward, while rookie back Caleb Johnson steps in to give Pittsburgh a younger, more physical running game after Najee Harris's departure. Though wide receiver George Pickens is gone, Rodgers' track record of maximizing his targets bodes well for the next crop of receivers and for veterans like Pat Freiermuth at tight end. On defense, the Steelers remain as intimidating as ever. Watt is still one of the most dominant defenders in the game, and the secondary got a boost from 7th-rounder Dante Kent, who brings speed and depth. With Harmon in the rotation and linebacker additions like Carson Bruner, the defense projects to be top 5 in the league, built to shut down high-powered AFC offenses. Vegas projects the Steelers in the 10-11 win range, but with Rodgers' arrival and Mike Tomlin's unmatched consistency, still boasting 0 losing seasons since 2007, expectations inside the building are even higher. If Rodgers stays healthy and develops chemistry quickly, Pittsburgh won't just be fighting for a playoff spot, they'll be chasing another Lombardi trophy. Fun fact number 5. Did you know that the terrible towel has raised millions for charity? Originally created by broadcaster Myron Cope as a rally gimmick in 1975, the terrible towel became a global Steelers icon. After Cope's passing, rights to the towel were donated to the Allegheny Valley School for children and adults with intellectual disabilities. Sales of the towel have generated millions of dollars in charitable donations. From decades of futility to one of the greatest dynasties the game has ever seen, the Pittsburgh Steelers have defined toughness and tradition in the NFL. Their legacy is etched in gold: 6 Lombardi trophies, legends at every position, and a fan base that bleeds black and gold. The question now is simple: can the Steelers find the offensive firepower to match their defensive might and return to the Super Bowl stage? And before you go, don't forget to like and subscribe to Spotlight Stories NFL, where every team has a story and we put them under the spotlight.